Gravity is pulling you into your chair right now at 9.8 meters per second squared. You don't feel it because your chair is pushing back just as hard. You've never known anything else. It feels like nothing. Now multiply it by 10. 98 meters per second squared. For 1 hour. Not forever. Just 60 minutes. You might think 1 hour isn't enough time for anything serious to happen. You would be wrong by a significant margin. Here is what actually happens. To you, to every building on Earth, to the oceans, and to the atmosphere, in 60 minutes. Minute 1. You are now experiencing 10G. That is the gravitational force that fighter pilots briefly endure during extreme maneuvers, the force that requires a specialized pressure suit and years of physical training to survive for seconds. You have none of that. If you are standing, your legs buckle instantly. The muscles and skeleton that evolved to support your weight against 1G cannot support 10 times that load. You are on the floor within seconds. Minute 2. Every structure on Earth built for 1G is now catastrophically overloaded. A typical multi-story building is engineered with safety margins, but not for 10 times its design load. Within minutes, the structural columns at the base of every tall building on Earth are experiencing forces 10 times beyond their specifications. Glass shatters, steel bends, concrete cracks. The world's skylines begin to come down. Minute 5. The atmosphere is compressing. Air has mass. At 10G, the atmosphere is being pulled toward Earth's surface 10 times as hard as normal. The air pressure at ground level is spiking dramatically. This is not just uncomfortable, it's physiologically dangerous. The partial pressure of oxygen increases to levels that cause oxygen toxicity, a condition where normal air becomes poisonous to breathe. Every living creature on Earth's surface is now breathing toxic air. Minute 10. The oceans are moving. Water, like everything else, is being pulled toward Earth's center 10 times as hard. The sea surface, which normally bulges slightly at the equator due to rotation, is now pressing down on the ocean floor with 10 times the normal force. But the more visible effect is at coastlines. Ocean water, pressed harder against the ocean basin, is dramatically redistributing. Low-lying coastal areas are experiencing sudden and extreme flooding as water compresses and redistributes under the new gravitational field. Minute 20. Every aircraft in the air is falling. An aircraft generates lift by moving fast enough that air pressure above the wing is lower than below, generating upward force. But at 10G, the weight of the aircraft is 10 times what the wings were designed to lift against. Every commercial aircraft in flight right now, approximately 10,000 at any given moment, has become too heavy to fly. They are descending, unable to maintain altitude, toward a surface covered in collapsing buildings. Minute 30. The geological consequences are beginning. Earth's crust, the relatively thin shell of rock we live on, is under 10 times its normal compressive load. Fault lines that were under stress are now breaking. Earthquakes are occurring simultaneously across every major tectonic boundary on Earth. The Himalayas, the Andes, the Rockies, all mountain ranges built against 1G loading, are experiencing catastrophic structural failure. Mountains are, very slowly by geological standards, but very quickly by human standards, beginning to collapse. Minute 60, the hour ends. Gravity returns to 9.8 meters per second squared. And here is what that return actually means. Every structure that survived by deforming under the increased load, steel that bent but didn't break, concrete that cracked but didn't collapse, now has to handle the sudden release of that load. Elastic rebound, the snapping back of deformed structures under suddenly normal gravity, causes secondary collapses. The return to normal is not safe. It is a second disaster. And here is the number that defines the human cost. At any given moment, approximately 8 billion people are alive on Earth. Of those, roughly 4 billion are in tall structures, on aircraft, or in low-lying coastal areas during the 1-hour window. The survival rate for those groups at 10G for 60 minutes, based on structural failure rates, aircraft incapacity, and physiological limits, would be catastrophically low. An hour of 10G is not a thought experiment. It is an extinction-level event. So here's what 1 hour of 10G actually looks like. Minute 1, every person on Earth is on the floor. Minute 2, every tall building begins to fail. Minute 5, the atmosphere becomes toxic. Minute 10, coastlines flood. Minute 20, every aircraft falls. Minute 30, simultaneous global earthquakes. Minute 60, the hour ends, and the rebound causes a second wave of destruction. Not a thought experiment, an extinction event, which makes the 9.8 meters per second squared pulling you into your chair right now invisible unfelt, perfectly calibrated, one of the more precisely fortunate numbers in the universe. Probably lucky, it's exactly this. New video every 2 days. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one.